So first of all, I want to thank you all for coming out and joining me for the Legacy Steps webinar. And, just to give a little background about who I am and what I believe, my name is Timothy Bond. I am the founder of TrueVine Publishing Company. I'm also an author, and I am the author of my latest book is 5K the Right Way. And it's a powerful, concise book about how to generate no less than $5,000 with your book. Most people, statistically, don't sell more than 250 books in the lifetime of their book. And I have found through some strategic processes that you can generate at least $5,000 just by touching your general circle of influence and how to reach people with your message and with your book. And so I think this is a great book. You can find out, you can get that book on my website, 5K the Right Way, and that's 5K the Right, that's WRITE, 5KtherightWay.com. And it's also on my website, TrueVinePublishing.com. But it's a book that I believe everyone needs to be able to simplify the process and the thinking of how to get your book out. And once you create the process and the strategy to generate $5,000 with your book, then you just wash and repeat and increase your efforts, and then you could take that from 5K, 10K, 15K. So I've been publishing books for nearly 20 years now, and I started this company. Just wanted to put out my first book of poetry. I had no desire to create a publishing company, but I worked as an editor for a publishing company. So I had a network of professionals who helped me create a very quality product. And after I created my book, I started getting more and more inquiries and people requesting me to help them with their book. So I have been doing this for nearly 2 decades. I love this. I love what I do. I love helping people achieve their publishing dreams. I love helping people achieve their goals. And I always tell people, when you find out what your passion is, what you're passionate about, and what your gift is, and you combine those two, you'll find your purpose. My gift is writing. My passion is helping people achieve their dreams. And so that took me into the publishing world. And I've been blessed to publish authors around the globe, hundreds of authors. And so that's what I love to do. Now, today we're going to be talking about something I believe in deeply, and that is, I believe that success in any endeavor is a journey. And this is how we get our legacy steps. I believe that success in any endeavor is a journey, and you don't have to be an elite master of your trade. You don't have to be the best to reach the end of that journey, to reach that success finish line. You simply need to take one step at a time. And so I believe that as a legacy author, an author who wants to leave a legacy, who wants to leave an impact, you can achieve that if you're willing to take one step at a time. So that's what legacy steps means. And STEPS for me is an acronym. And that acronym means strategic thinking and execution for publishing success. STEPS is strategic thinking and execution for publishing success. His name is Lao Tzu, said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And so I believe that we can accomplish anything if we're willing to just take one step at a time. One step at a time. Now, some people will run, some people jog, and some people walk. But the one thing that they all have in common is they're all taking one step at a time. And so that's what Legacy Steps is all about. Now, if you're on this webinar, you're here because of one of three reasons. Either you are wanting to write a book, either you are in the process of writing a book, or you have written a book and you need help selling more copies. And so what I want to do today is give you 3 strategies for either step, whichever phase of the publishing process you're in. I want to give you 3 strategies that you can use to advance in the phase that you're in, right? I was on a coaching today with my coach, Coach Michael Burt, and he was talking about how when people who are just getting in the publishing realm or just starting to write their books, they want to jump from writing the book to becoming a New York Times bestseller. Well, there are steps in between that process, and those steps may take years. It may take multiple books. You don't go directly from writing your first book in your first draft to becoming a New York Times bestseller. And so I believe that success is incremental, and that the more we grow, the more we go through our process, then the more we're going to improve in our growth and our ability to succeed in this industry. We just let Sarita Russell in. Thank you for coming, Sarita. I'm sorry I lost my place here, but so what I want to do today is give everyone a few steps, a few strategies on how to advance if you're a beginner and you haven't started writing yet, and you're in the writing process. I'm going to give you some strategies on how to fund your book. If you're in the writing process, but you're trying to figure out, how am I going to get the money to fund this book? How am I going to get the money to fund this process? And then for those who have already written a book and you need help selling more copies, I'm going to give you a few strategies on what you can do to start selling more books and promoting and marketing your book a little bit better. When I wrote my second book, it's entitled Fall in Love with the Struggle, I had just been fired from my quote unquote career job. I was working at a publishing company, and I wasn't fired because I was not fired because of my inability to do the work. I was fired for some political reasons, right? But I had just gotten fired from my job. It was my career job. This is what I had planned to do with my life. I went to college, got an English degree. I wanted to work in a publishing house. So I'm sitting at home and I don't know what my next step is. And I decided I'm going to make writing my book, I'm going to make this my job. Until I find another job, I'm going to make writing this book my job. So I dedicated myself to writing 8 hours a day, because I worked 8 hours a day, and I was already in the mindset of sitting and reading and editing all day. So that wasn't a stretch for me. So I said, I'm going to write 8 hours a day. And then I just started committing myself to writing this book. And I finished that book within 30 days. Now, after I finished my book, I decided, you know what? I know I don't have a dime to my name. I know I'm struggling as far as paying the bills, because I'm still looking for a job. I'm not finding any jobs. But I just decided I want to have a book launch. I don't know why I decided this. I guess I needed a win, right? So I said, I'm going to have a book launch. I'm going to have a big party, and I'm going to sell my book, right? And then I was like, how am I going to pay for it? And I said, I'm gonna pre-sale books. I'm gonna pre-sale my book. I'm gonna create tickets to the party. I'm gonna create tickets to the launch party. And to get in, it'll be $5. And to get the book, of course, was $15. So I'm gonna sell these tickets for $20. And I created a list of 150 people that I said, I'm gonna target these people. And I'm going to get a sale from these people, right? And so I went about my plan, my strategy. I went about my strategy to sell 150 books, to pay for the book that I was producing, and to pay for this big launch that I decided I wanted to have, right? So what I found amazingly to happen was that the people that I did target, they were receptive, but also I began to generate this energy and people began to come to me and they also wanted to be a part of it. I had family members who were upset with me because they didn't know I was working on this project, right? By the end of the process, I had generated over $5,000 and I was able to produce my book. I was able to pay for the launch, and then we generated a whole another $1,000 in the book launch. Now, why am I telling you this story? Within this story, I have found that the seed of success was in that story, right? How I began to write my book, the strategy that I used to write the book, how I funded my book, how I marketed and promoted my book. We're all in this, encapsulated in this one campaign, right? Now I generated 5,000, but by utilizing these same strategies, you can generate whatever amount of money that you want to generate. If you want to create $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, by utilizing these strategies we're about to talk about, you'll be able to do it. You just got to put in the proper time, energy, and effort that matches the amount of money that you want to make. So let's go into the steps, these strategies for advancement in any stage of your publishing journey. Now, is there anyone on the webinar who has already started writing or who's willing to speak? Have you started writing a book? Are you in the writing process, or have you already written your book? Any hands that can go up, or you can even put it in the, in the messages. Okay. Rashad, have you already written your book, or?
I'm at the very, very beginning stages.
Okay, you're at the very beginning stages. Great, great. So I hope this is helpful for you. So, like I said, if you're in this webinar, you're probably thinking about publishing a book, probably in the writing process, or you've already written. So let's go into the writing process. I want to give you 3 strategies for writing your book. For those who are in the writing process, have not written, or thinking about writing, and you're like, where do I even start? Okay. So the first strategy I want you to think about is to choose a daily word count. So you'd be surprised how quickly people wrote 9 pages of your bio. Okay. Okay. All right, Sarita, you've written and published. So I hope that when we get to the marketing and promoting, or that you'll have some questions for me. But you'll be surprised how many people are so are discouraged and removed from the process just from the writing steps, just from writing the book. It seems easy, but the biggest obstacle when it comes to writing your book is going to be that inferiority complex, that mental aspect that's telling you, no, this is not good enough. Nobody's going to read it. And before you know it, you say, I'm not even going to write it. I've had clients in the past who paid me thousands of dollars and then disappeared because the writing process can become so discouraging and so daunting. And so what I believe is, let's take it one step at a time, right? Let's take it one step at a time. Choose a daily word count, okay? So if you're going to, let's say you're going to write 500 words a day. I don't want you to think about how beautiful the sentences are. Your goal is to write 500 words. Of course, you're going to write on topic, but if you can't write on topic, that's fine as well. Just get words out. I tell people all the time, writing a book, your first step is like pouring pieces of a puzzle out on the table. You're not going to write the chapters consecutively. I don't want you to even think about that. I just want you to get the words on paper. So choose a daily word count. The second strategy is choose a writing time and a location. There's a flow that you get into when you're in your zone. And if you're not in the right place, if you're not in the right environment, you can't get in that zone. And so you got to choose a writing time and a writing location. Some people getting up early in the morning is a good time for you to start writing, because that early in the morning, everybody's asleep, or nobody's in the house, or your day is just getting started, you're refreshed. If you're not a morning person, you might be a person where writing at nighttime is your best time. Writing at during the midnight hours, right? So that might be your best time. How many words is good for daily? It really depends on your word count of the book that you want to write, and how many words you want to write. So, for example, if you want to have a 25,000 word manuscript, I would say 500 words a day, depending on the time that you want, the time frame that you have for your manuscript, right? So if you got to have a book in 3 months, of course you want to break that up, break that word count down into that daily, into those daily goals, right? But I would say 500 words a day is a good way to get you flowing. 500 words a day will get you flowing, because 500 words is 1 page. So if you give yourself the time to type out 1 page, it's been my experience. I won't say I guarantee, but it's been my experience. If you can get 1 page, if you can get the focus to type 1 full page, then you might be in a flow. And I guarantee you, I always say, I guarantee you. But if you can get 1 full page, then you should be in a flow where you'll get several pages out. So choosing a daily word count, choosing a writing time and a location, and then lastly, create a source of accountability. Now, there's a thought out here, and I disagree with it. And that thought is, don't tell anybody you're writing a book until you're finished. I'm going to say that is the worst advice that you can get. That is the worst advice you can get. You want that accountability, right? We live in a time now where people are writing books based on the blogs that they have written. So they're basically giving their book away on the blog, and then they're taking those blog entries, compiling them into a book, and selling them to the same people who read them every day. So we no longer live in a world where we have to keep our book secret, right? Tell people that you're writing your book. That brings about accountability, right? That puts you in a position where you can't give up now, because people are expecting this book from you. Now, somebody might say, well, why am I going to embarrass myself? Why am I going to put myself in a position where I don't fulfill what I said I was going to do? That's what you want to do. You want to put yourself in a position where your back is against the wall. In my book, 5K the Right Way, I talk about activating your fight mode, right? My coach, Coach Burt, he says it's your prey drive. It's the thing in you that makes you pursue. I call it the fight mode. What is it that makes you say, I don't care what I need to do. I'm getting my back off this wall, and I'm going to fight until I've achieved what I need to achieve, right? So you need to activate your fight mode, and by creating a source of accountability, putting the word out that I'm writing this book, people are expecting this book, that's going to make you fight harder to accomplish it, right? I was telling Rashawn and I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce. Is it Yessie? I was telling Rashawn and Yessie that, you know, my biggest, I was really fearful about doing these webinars, right? And, but I got to the point where I said, if I'm going to succeed, if I'm going to get to where I need to be, I've got to do these webinars. I've got to put myself in the position where I do it. I don't care if it's right. I don't care if it's wrong. I need to do it. This is a powerful strategy for your publishing success as well. A lot of people get caught up into, I want the book to be perfect. Oh, there's a comma in the wrong place. Listen, you get more done by executing than you do by trying to be perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect book. In the publishing world, we say that the editing process is never done. I promise you, you can go and find a book, even the oldest books, and you'll find some kind of mistake. So don't stop yourself from moving forward out of fear that the book won't be right, that the words won't be perfect. Write it anyway. Write it anyway, and then get someone to help you edit it so that you can refine it and make it better. So I'm gonna just recap the strategies for the writing. Choose a daily word count. Create yourself a writing schedule, writing time, and a writing location. Find yourself a comfortable place to write. And then create a source of accountability, right? So that's what I did when I decided I was gonna write for 8 hours and finish my book in 30 days. The next step, I said, how was I gonna fund this book, right? Now, in the time that I've been publishing books, I have found 4 funding sources. And I hope this is helpful for everyone, because everybody needs to find money for business ventures. And writing a book is a business venture. It is a business. This is not a hobby. If you really want to make money, you have to think like that. Great, great. So yes, he said that was her next question. If you really want to make money, you have to think that this is my business, okay? You got to go into a pro mentality. So I'll tell you my story. For actually, for 16 years, I was publishing books, and I would get maybe 4 books a year. And you know, I would help 4 people, and I'm not saying that's small, because you know, for 16 years I was publishing books. I was helping people around the world, Jamaica, Switzerland, Bahamas, throughout the United States, right? So it's not a small feat. But in 2019, my boss called me in and he said, I'm sorry, we got to let you go. We just decided to take a different route. I was a recruiter for a college. And so he called me and said, I got to let you go because we just decided to take another route. And I could tell he didn't even want to really talk about it. You know, we were working. This is when COVID first hit. We were working in the house. I had their computer. They didn't ask for the computer back. I didn't get a pink slip. I didn't get any kind of explanation as to why they fired me. But the backstory to that was 2 days before that happened, I prayed and I was like, God, I'm tired of, you know, of not knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I said, if you want something more out of me, then you're going to have to make it happen. And sure enough, 2 days later, I got fired from my job, okay? When I got fired, I said, that's good. I said, I'm going to make TrueVine my full business now. So I made a phone call. My first phone call I made, I reached out to a guy I've been talking to for over a year. I said, hey, man, just checking in with you. You ready to publish this book? And he says to me, you know what? Yes, let me give you my credit card. Amazing, right? So I was like, okay, great. Let me call somebody else. I called the next person, same thing. Within that first day, of getting fired, I had generated 3 months of income that I would have made working for this company, I generated 3 months of income in one day. And this is the power of, and this is the power of publishing, right? This, by creating a book, you create a business that you can generate unlimited income. You can generate multiple streams of unlimited income. The only limitation is your own limitations, your own mental limitations, right? This webinar for me is an extension of my book that I put out in 2004. This business is an extension of my book that I put out in 2004. And because of that one book, which was a seed, I've been able to help people achieve dreams around this world. And I talk about the urgency of purpose, right? There's an urgency for your book. There's an urgency for your purpose. There's an urgency for it. So there's an urgency for nurses, right? There's an urgency for police officers. There's an urgency for doctors. Somebody who is about to graduate from medical school will save somebody's life because of their purpose. And your book will save somebody's life, will help somebody grow, will help somebody learn something. And if you don't do it, if you don't put it out there, then somebody is missing that because you haven't taken that urgency. So I'm sorry I got off, but I hope that helps somebody. So I was talking about my funding, right? So I decided, how am I going to fund this book? So there are four funding sources that I want to, strategies that I want to share with you. For those who need funding, the first one is out of pocket. Now, the pros of funding your book out of pocket are you have no debt, right? So once you start selling your books, that money is yours to keep. That money is yours. The con is that you had to take money out of your pocket, okay? But that's not a terrible con. That's not a terrible con. So out of pocket, of course, is, I would say, the best way. If you have the money or you can generate the money that you can pay out of pocket, then you don't owe anybody. You're not beholden to anybody. Your book is yours. And then once you start selling your books, your profits are yours to keep, right? Now, here's the better option. Here's a better option that I am finding my clients are really generating, and that's your pre-sales campaign, all right? Now, pre-sales campaign is a real deal sales campaign, right? This is not something where you put
being a participant.
Hey Marlena, how are you? I'm gonna put you on mute real quick. But this is not something where you put your book online and then you just put it on Facebook and say, hey, please buy my book, and you don't talk to people about it again. You have to actively pursue your buyers. But this pre-sale campaign is a great way to let your book pay for itself. I'll give you examples. I have clients, I have two clients who are doing pre-sales right now. One has generated over $1,100. She owed $2,500. Her book has already paid half of that, and we're not even done publishing the book yet. All right. So she's making that money. I have another client that generated over $3,500 in pre-sales, right? Now, when your book pays for itself, that's the best way to fund your book. It does take you getting out of your comfort zone though. And for some reason, a lot of authors are afraid to ask people to buy their books, right? We're afraid of that rejection. We're afraid of asking friends to buy our books because we don't want our friends to reject us. I'd say that is your first attack. Your first attack is your immediate circle of influence. Why? You want to go to people who you can close, right? If I go to my brother and he says no, guess what? I will fight him. I'll argue with him. I will brow bash him. I will, whatever I need to do because I can, because he's my brother. That is a guaranteed sale, right? Go to your guaranteed sales first. It's hard enough to get sales out here. So why would you ignore the people you know should be supporting you? Anybody who you pay money to should be a target. If you go to a grocery store, if you go to a laundromat, if you go to a barber, a beautician, if you're putting money in their pockets, they need to be a target of your pre-sale campaign. You have family members who have businesses, they need to be pushing your books as well, right? This is not a spectator sport. Pre-sales, it is, you have to get in there, you got to get your hands dirty, and you have to sell these books. So the pre-sale campaign is a great way for your book to pay for itself, no money out of your pocket. And after you've, of course, paid for the campaign, everything else is icing on the cake. Now, a lot of people don't know about crowdsourcing for publishing, for publishing books, but there are actually book publishing crowdsourcing sites. So I'm going to give you some names, and you all can write these down, but these are just a couple of them, but there are more. But Google crowdsourcing for authors, right? So of course, everyone knows about GoFundMe, right? GoFundMe is a great way to put out a campaign, ask for donations, people support you without you having to pay them back. A lot of people know about Kickstarter, but there's also a platform called Indiegogo, 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 which is a platform specifically for people who are seeking money to write their books. There's also a platform called Patreon. And so, of course, I didn't want to do a whole list of platforms, but again, go to Google and look for crowdsourcing for authors. There's money out there. There are platforms out there to help you get funding from people who will support you, okay? Lastly, funding, getting funding or getting financed. I hate the word finance because it sounds like getting a car. But if you've ever heard of OPM, other people's money, this is how businesses fund or get capital. They use other people's money, right? So my company provides funding options for our clients, for those who qualify, where you can get from $5,000 to $25,000 for your book project. Now that is a funding source to you. You have to pay it back. It's like any other financing situation. You have 2 to 5 years to pay it back. There's an interest rate. It's based off of your credit worthiness. But this is a great way for those who believe in their projects and believe in their ability to go out and make their project work, to fund this project on OPM, other people's money, and then get those books sold so you can pay that loan off as quickly as possible and move forward with your profit. All right. So if you're looking for funding, those are 4 strategies that you can use for funding. Any questions at this point? I'm sorry, I can just keep talking. So I want to stop and open the door for any questions, because I don't want to talk the full hour. I really want to, all right, Yessie?
Okay, great job. Tons of information, a little bit fast for me since I'm a newbie.
Okay.
The 2 websites, the last 2, can you type them in the chat? Indiegogo, and what was the last one?
Indiegogo and Patreon.
Oh, Patreon. Yeah, if you could just type them, that'd be great. And then, can you talk a little bit about, you said, you know, you're doing a great job of like, okay, you can pre-sell the book, and you got to get it sold. Can you talk about how you help people with the marketing component of it to get it sold?
Mhm.
Is that something that you do? Because I'm guessing there's people that come to you that maybe have never sold anything before.
Mhm.
You do
Yeah.
that? Okay, thank you.
So what I help people do is create the strategy for the campaign, right? So I have what I call your top 100. Your top 100 is a list of your top supporters who you know will support you just because your name is on the book. You could have a book with 100 blank pages just because your name is on the book. These people will support you, okay? Now, a lot of times I get, well, I don't know that many people. I only know about 20 people who will support me. That is not true, right? When that comes from a fear, that fear of rejection, that fear that I really don't want to put myself out there asking people for money, right? And so that's why I stress so much, like you've got to get in the pro mentality. You've got to see this business as a business, not as a hobby, not as it would be nice if, no, this is what you do. I'm a book seller. I am a published author, right? I believe selling books is as much a trade as mechanics and HVAC. This is a trade. This is something you can learn to do and make good money doing it and create new streams of income. Like I said, this business that I'm doing, I make more money. I've made more money in a month doing this than I made, working for people, working for companies, right? And it's based off of the effort that I put into it, right? And so, so what I do is I tell people, write out that list of your top 100, and you're going to reach them in every way possible. You're going to reach them in social media. You're going to contact them by phone. You're going to contact them by email and snail mail, right? Every way that you can reach them, you're going to contact them until you get a yes or a no. Or as Coach Burt says, till it's to its logical conclusion, right? To its logical conclusion. You're going to have to tell me no, or you're going to have to tell me yes. Now, social media is a powerful resource. And a lot of people put it off. They say, I don't like it. I don't like all the negativity, right? You've got to use it for the resource that it is. No, I don't know of any other product or platform where I can reach people on the other side of the world and they want to know more about me, right? And about what I do, like social media, right? There's no other platform for that. Now, this is my equation for everyone. This is my equation. I have what we call touches, and touches is exposure, right? So when we're talking about social media and promoting and marketing on social media is not going to get you sales, a lot of sales. But what social media will do is get you exposure of your brand, exposure of your book title, exposure of your platform, right? Think about when you're driving down the interstate. You see all these signs, you're not paying attention to them, but for some reason you want a Big Mac, right? Why? Because you didn't pay attention to the fact of these McDonald's signs all down the interstate, right? But you're getting exposed to it constantly. And that's the power of social media, is you get this exposure. And even if the person who saw it doesn't need your product, they may know someone who needs your product. So I've gotten clients from people who were exposed to my social media site and they referred their friends. They didn't want to write a book, but they knew somebody who did, okay? So touches, when you're talking about social media, don't get stressed out about how many likes you get. You just need to focus on putting as much content out as possible and making sure you brand that content with every time. Everything I put out has truevinepublishing.org at the bottom, right? Everything I put out, right? Because that name, I want it to stick in people's heads. I want them to think. When they do think, I want to write a book, True Vine Publishing, right? So as it says, you should write a book, True Vine Publishing, right? Because they got that exposure, right? So you want to get touches, then lead to leads. Leads are people who saw your content and now they're interested. I call them window shoppers, right? They're window shoppers because they're like, that looks nice, and they stop to look, right? Now that you got them stopping to look, you can stay in the building and you can say, oh, great, somebody likes my content, or you can engage them, right? Somebody likes your content on social media. If you're promoting your book and somebody likes it, that to me is an invitation. Talk to me. Ask me if I'd like to know more. That's an invitation. Don't stay in the store and look at the people who are window shopping and hope they come in. Engage them, okay? Now, once you've engaged them, they go from being a lead to a prospect. Now, a prospect is somebody they've picked up your product and they're looking at it, right? They want to know more about it. How much does it cost, right? Now you're engaged in conversation. That's a prospect now. And now your prospect, you convert into a customer, right? So that's the phases. Touches turn to leads, leads turn to prospects, prospects turn to customers, right? Now, the thing is, you need about 10,000 touches to get 1,000 leads, and 1,000 leads to get 100 prospects, and 100 prospects to get, let's be generous and say 3 customers, okay? Let's be generous. So that's why you have to be consistent, and you have to promote it. That's why I say this is not a prospect, this is not a spectator sport, pre-selling your book. You have to get engaged and you have to be aggressive, like you said to me, Yessie, which was really great, right? Get on the phone, call them, text them, right? That's what I tell my people to do. You gotta get it out there. And then let's talk about, so once you've done social media, you also have to put the boots to the ground, right? I went out and I went to people's houses. I went to people's businesses and I called people, right? Now, one of the toughest things I did, I'm sitting in my house, like I don't have any money. And I was like, my neighbors don't even know I have a book, right? How are you sitting in the house broke and you got a book, you have a product, and your neighbors who live right next to you don't even know you have a book, right? So I started going door to door. Hey, I'm your neighbor. I wrote a book, and it's surprising. They were like, I can't believe you wrote a book and you didn't come over here and tell us, right? People want to support you. You may have a number of people who don't support you, but there are probably more people who do want to support you. You just got to get out of your own comfort zone, get out of your own way, get out there and ask them. So I would say, Yessie, to your question, social media and boots on the ground. Get out there, shake hands, tell people. I created a one-pager. I took it to Starbucks, put it on their community board. I created some postcards and business cards. I went to the club, I threw them on the bar. I actually got somebody who came to my book signing from the card I threw on the bar. Like I threw a whole handful of cards on the bar and I got a customer. Hey, that's one person who bought a book that I never would have reached, right? Exposure, okay? So basically, what I say is marketing is not difficult. Marketing to me is simple. Get people's attention, right? If your house is on fire, You're not thinking, what's the best way to tell people that my house is on fire, right? You're yelling. You run out of the house and you're yelling, my house is on fire, help, help, help. That's the same thing with our books. We need to be yelling, I have a book, I have a book. Look at my book, look at me, right? So that's, does that answer the question? Does that, okay, great. Let me see here, all right. So, so then let's talk about, we're talking about marketing and promotion. That was actually where I was going next. So I say talk early, talk loudly, and talk often, right? It's never too early to promote your book. Never too early to promote and market your book, okay? Nobody's trying to steal your book, okay? This notion that somebody will steal my content. Who's gonna steal a book? Who's gonna steal content and sit behind a computer and type for hours? Nobody, okay? So you don't have to worry about, I can't tell people about my book because I don't want anybody to steal my idea. Nobody's stealing ideas. And I really want you to think about this. How can they, right? Here's the legal aspect. You cannot copyright a title. So if somebody says, oh, I love that title, and they take it, there's nothing you can do about that. But they can't take the content that's in your mind, right? So if you say, I'm going to write about birds, yeah, anybody can write about birds, but they can't write it the way you were going to write it. So talk early, tell people about your book, get people excited, build your tribe early. The worst thing to do is to write your book and then try to find out how to sell it. That's the worst thing to do. You want your tribe waiting for your book. You want them salivating, you know, just like, when's the book coming? When's the book coming? That's what you want. So you need to promote it early, promote it loudly. Like I said, you know, if your house is on fire, you're not whispering, you're not using your inside voice, you're talking loudly, and do it often. Like I said, you need thousands of touches to get leads, and those leads decrease every time you go down the line. Your leads become prospects, prospects become customers. I want you to develop 7 ways to market and promote your book. 7. Why 7? That gives you something to do every day of the week. All right. There's a statement, if I was to chop down a tree, if I went outside and I just swung the axe one time, how long would it take me to chop down that tree? But if I went out there and I swung that axe every day 7 times, I could knock that tree down a whole lot quicker, right? So you want to promote your book in at least 7 different ways, right? And you can do multiple at a time. So you may have, I love the TikTok jokes, all right? I love the TikTok jokes, and I'll tell you why. Some, you know, I have my best friend, he's not really into it because he thinks it's not professional. But what I have found is in my business, I don't know about other businesses, in my businesses, people are more responsive to something that makes them laugh, as opposed to me, lecturing them about how you need to do this, you need to do this for yourself. You know, like, they don't want to hear that. They already know that they're not moving forward with their goals. They're already stressed about it. But my little TikTok jokes and those little trends really loosen them up, and then they start calling me, right? They start calling, I need to talk to you. That's me. Ha ha ha. That's me. I need to talk to you, right? So you got to find out what your audience really connects to, but you know, get on TikTok, get on social media, you know, radio interviews, media interviews with the television stations, your local television stations. Find 7 ways to promote and market your book. You know, to this day, people still put flyers about concerts on my window, right? That's old school marketing, but it still works, right? Stop at any stop sign and look at the light pole. You'll see a bunch of staples on it. Why? Because it still works. Putting posters on poles, right? I went to the gas station and this guy put his sticker on the gas station, on the gas tank. I had a QR code to download his music. Guess what? I downloaded it. Right there, free. Spotify, right? Now I'm exposed to his music. I didn't like it, but I got exposed to it, right? So, get out there and create ways to promote and get exposure. And then lastly, this is the most important, build a platform. Your book is not the moneymaker. Your book is the key to the moneymaker. Your platform is your moneymaker. And if you're not in it for the money, your platform is your purpose maker, right? Your platform is your purpose maker. This is what the message that you want to get out. There are millions of books produced every year. Writing a book does not distinguish you from the rest of the crowd. Your platform is what distinguishes you from the rest of the crowd. So you gotta create a platform. I'm sorry if y'all hear the people cutting the grass out here, but you gotta create a platform for your book. It's more than just the book. People don't buy books. People buy people. Statistically, 82% of people who buy books from people that they already know and love. So what does that mean? That means you got to get known by more people, because 82% of your purchases are coming from people who already know you. So if they don't know you, I don't care if you put your book on Amazon. I don't care. Amazon is doing nothing to tell people that your book is there. Nobody gets a magical notification in their mind. Hey, yes, you just put a book on Amazon. Ding, right? That's not happening. You got to get out there and make it happen. So I'm going to stop for questions, and then I want to make an invitation to go deeper. Any questions? Yes.
Anybody else can ask questions if they have them, but what genre do you see? And I don't know if that's the right terminology, but like for your first book, is it like biographies, or you're solving a problem, or a business book? Like, do you, yeah, what's a good way to start? Like where you write your first book?
I am more, I love memoirs. I love self-help books. That's just me, because I believe those types of books really speak to people and help them, especially self-help books, right? In this world, we got a lot of problems, and a self-help book helps people develop solutions to those problems, right? And so I think self-help books, memoirs, allow you to create other avenues like coaching, training programs, educational programs, mentor programs. Like, they create avenues. If you are a fiction writer, it's because you love that, right? So if that's what you love, right, then do that. Do what you love mostly. Do what you love, right? Because any of these products, even if it's fiction, can create new streams of income, coaching opportunities. And so that's the thing, like, that's the biggest thing to focus on, is what does this book, what doors do these books open up for me, right? Rashawn, you asked me what one of the biggest problems I had seen with authors, and that is that they leave it, they stop at the book. They stop at the book, right? Well, after a year, your book may be obsolete if you're not out creating more avenues to reach people, right? So that would be, to answer your question, do what you love. But I think self-help books kind of open more doors for you to create a bigger platform and scale your business a little bit more.
And
Anybody else?
last question,
Go ahead.
do you help, like, let's say new authors like myself, to build it up? Like if it's a self-help book, like, are you part of that process?
I love your question, Jesse.
I
Yes.
really know nothing. I know nothing.
Yeah. So it was a beautiful thing in my process of growing. I developed a manuscript coaching service, and one of my clients is here, where we work together. I call it manuscript coaching and co-writing. And what I found is, in this business, more so than a good book or anything, you need help. You need somebody to guide you through the process. You need a coach, right? Because when you're writing a book and the only voice you have is yours, everybody knows that voice is the most critical. That voice hates you, right? It hates everything you do. That voice, we call it the watcher at the gate. The watcher at the gate is that voice in your head that's like, nah, that's not good. No, they're not gonna like that. You sure you want to say that? Yeah, right. That's the watcher at the gate. And that voice is always gonna tell you that it's not good enough, right? And so you need somebody who's been there to tell you, no, this is really good. This is just, you'd be surprised how quickly my clients have moved from stagnancy to finishing a manuscript just by having somebody with them to go through that process. So yes, we do manuscript coaching, co-writing, anything concerning the publishing process. We can help our clients get through that process. Yes. Any other questions? I want to make an invitation for you to go deeper with me, okay? I believe that free advice is as valuable as what you paid for it. It's worth what you paid for it, okay? Free advice is worth what you paid for it. And what is that? Zero. Now, that's to say, people appreciate free advice. I appreciate free advice. I do. But I don't value it. We don't value it because we didn't put anything into it. We didn't put our sweat, blood, our money into it. Now, I love the fact that you did invest your time, but this is not enough for once we leave this conversation and you lay down and you face the next day and all of its responsibilities, for you to say, you know what, I've got to make this happen, right? And so when I ask for investments into coaching, it's of course it's for growth for my business, but it's also for the client to grow. Now I practice what I preach. I'm in 2 coaching programs right now, and I've put thousands of dollars into these coaching programs. And I want you to know I have benefited from those investments. I had one investment with a coach. I paid $2,000, and then that coach gave me one piece of advice that created a whole product for me for my publishing services, and that was the funding sources, right? I was able to offer funding now. And immediately I was able to generate $16,000 in new business because I was able to offer funding. Now, who would say that $2,000 coaching, if I never talked to that coach again, who would say it was worth me paying $2,000 for that coaching opportunity, right? And so you've got to invest in yourself, right? I believe that anything that you invest, I don't care if it's $1 or $1 million, whatever you invest is the seed. That's the small thing. And once you put it in the ground and you nurture it, it's going to create a tree that's worth more. So the more I can invest in myself, the happier I am, because I know that my $5,000 investment or my $10,000 investment or my $5 investment is going to produce more. So I want to invite you all to join the Legacy Steps system. I want to share my screen. And the Legacy Steps system is a number of different training programs that I'm offering, okay? So I have the Book Your Legacy Bootcamp. Book Your Legacy Bootcamp is a 4-hour in-person online training where we dig deeper into the legacy steps, okay? Now these legacy steps, this is a accumulation of years of experience. So of course, we can't put all of that into 1 hour, right? And we really can't put it all into 4 hours, but it's a smaller investment for $150 to learn, to go deeper, to get some feedback, have a free strategy session where we can go over the 6 steps of our legacy steps system, okay? And you get a 15% discount on additional coachings and consultations and strategy sessions. I also have the 5K The Right Way book club. 5K The Right Way, for those who just came on, that's my book that I wrote that breaks down ways to generate no less than $5,000 with your book. Now, it's not about the money as much as it is about creating the system. Once you learn how to create that system to generate $5,000, all you have to do is multiply your efforts and you can generate as much money as you want to, okay? So that's a $49 service. You get the book and then you get 12 sessions where I break down each chapter of the book so that you have better understanding of how to execute the 5K The Right Way process. The next one is the Author Incubator, which is a 6-week training program where we really go into the legacy steps and we create your legacy steps, all right? You'll get access to 3 training sessions. That means you'll get every other week, you'll get a strategy session. You'll get the video replays. You'll get access to the Success Accountability Group. And you'll also get access to our weekly writers workshop. So if you're still in the writing process, every week we do a writers workshop where we go over what you've written for the week, give you real-time feedback. That's priceless because that's like getting an editor for free. And then of course, the big one is the True Vine Academy, which is a 6-month training program. Now that, like I said, book publishing and book selling is a trade that you can make multiple streams of income, unlimited income. And this academy is where we actually, I call on my network of professionals. I have best friends who are New York Times bestsellers, people who have written books that have been turned into movies. You'll have access to my whole network where you're going to get that training. We're also going to help you through the writing process, and your graduation is your book. You will get published in this process and you'll have 1,000 books that you can go out and immediately start making money. So I'm asking, or I am imploring you all, take advantage of one of these. You can go to legacy-steps.com to learn more about the different trainings. And I'm opening the floor for any final questions. Well, if we don't have any, let me see here. You say the last 2.
Got a quick question.
Okay.
So the True Vine Academy, does that include everything from the previous 2 products?
That includes everything. That's gonna be like, it's like a college training. So you're gonna learn everything about the publishing industry. You're gonna get help writing your book. You're going to be trained on marketing. Those strategies we talked about today, we're going to create that. We're going to create your strategies. We're going to create your promotion, marketing strategy. Yes, so everything is in that academy.
And what's the investment for that?
That investment is $7,900. Marlena.
Okay, so my thoughts here is, first of all, I've actually just signed up for someone that's within my region that Coach Burt hooked me up with, that does very similar to what you're doing in the marketing and stuff as well. And so I'll say this, I do wish that with Master of the Stage that we would have known like each other's bio of sorts, like what each other has as qualifications and things that are services that within our group that we offered. That would have been great, because I noticed what you're offering is definitely something which, yes, he asked me to jump on because it's something I'm interested in and looking at. But I would love to be able to share your information with other people, because I love to be able to help other people get to a place, even if it's just, meeting one person, that one person can lead to 10, so I'd love to get you to share your contact information with me somehow, so that I can just do a post out for you on my social media and just do a push. And same with Ro. I don't know, I thought you and I kind of maybe hit on some topics that you do some things as well. So just saying that, I think it's just a good idea for you to share those things. I'd be glad to share with the followers I have. I don't have a huge amount, but have like my goal is 2,000 by the end of the month friends on Facebook. So I'm at 18 something. So anyway.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to put that in the chat here. I also will connect with you through the Facebook group, right? We're all on the Facebook group. So yeah, on Facebook as well as Timothy Bond. Yes, Jessina. Yes.
No, it's fine. The different packages prices, can you just go? I know it started like I missed that. I know you got to click in the button, but I just want to know.
Yes. Okay. So let me get it pulled up again. Okay. So the 5K the Right Way book club is $49.95. You get the book, and then you get the 12 training sessions that I did for each chapter. The Book Your Legacy Boot Camp is $150 for the 4-hour in-person and online training. The Author Incubator is $499. That's a 6-week training, 3 strategy sessions. And then the Truvine Academy that's the big boy, and that's $7,900.
And then do you do payment plans?
Absolutely. We absolutely do payment plans. So with the Truvine Academy, we can break that up into 3 quarterly or three payments every 2 months. If you do need a payment plan for the Author Incubator, this is my personal, this is how I do personally. And my belief is I do not ever want to be a burden on someone. My goal is to help, right? So I'll take payments for my clients until we reach a certain level, right? So in this situation, if somebody's like, hey, I want to do the Author Incubator, but I don't have it all, we can do payments. And then once we get the amount, then you're in, right? So I never want to be the person, and I probably need to work on this, but I never want to be the person who's harassing people for money. Okay, so I'm sure Coach would probably not be happy to hear that. But no, we can work out payment plans that are best for the clients. I guess with this, we could probably do something like 125, you know, three payments or 4 payments of 125, something like that. And then, you know, the $50, there's no payment plan for that one or the 150.